Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we are going to be ranking every single electric card from worst to best here in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM. We got 12 new cards today. I'm going to be going over all 12 of them again and ranking them from worst to best so that you all know, in my opinion at least, which ones I would recommend targeting and which ones I would probably stay away from. Before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 18,000 subscriber mark on the channel. At the time of me recording this video, we are basically 50 subscribers away from 18K, and I think we can hit it today. So would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. And yeah, without further ado, let's hop right into it. Let's start off with number 12, who is going to be Eddie House. Unfortunately, 2K did not soup this card up. Obviously, if y'all know anything about Eddie House, he was a great scorer in real life. He's got Hoff Agent 3, limitless range, great playmaking badge. Unfortunately, he's a 6'1" point guard who's not much of a slasher at all and can't defend in the slightest. That is automatically a liability. Not to mention they didn't really give him great animations at all. Default small base, not a fan of that. Overall, just not a good card. Eddie House is not good in my team, and he is at number 12 pretty easily. Number 11 would be this Marjan Beauchamp. Unfortunately, his movement just isn't very good. Why is the name? There we go. He's not terrible. I mean, he's got a 90 driving dunk. He's got semi-decent speed. He's got an 88 3-ball, a couple decent shooting badges, including Hoff catch. Playmaking isn't really there, though, and defensively, he is pretty good. But as a whole, I don't think his release is particularly great, and his movement certainly isn't great. These SIGs are not elite. So overall, it just leads to a card who's not particularly great in any specific area and just kind of there at the shooting guard or small forward position. Honestly, Jonathan Kuminga's kind of in that same boat as Marjan Beauchamp. On paper, he's a pretty solid card. He's obviously an elite slasher, a semi-decent shooter, and a pretty solid versatile defender. Has decent playmaking badges, which I do like over Beauchamp. Gives you a little more playmaking for sure with gold blow-by, speed booster, unpluckable, bailout, break starter, stuff like that does help. But his release is not incredible, and his SIGs are not elite. Overall, it just leads to a card who's not anything special on the court. He's not bad, but he's certainly not great, and I think he's a fair guy to put at number 10. Now, we take a significant jump up at number 9, which is the other Amethyst. I still think Mo Bamba, but Mo Bamba's really good, and honestly, every card after Mo Bamba is at least usable, at very minimum. All of these cards are at least solid. Bamba's 7 foot with a 7'10" wingspan, hotspots on 2 out of 5 spots outside the 3-point line. 3 Hoffs are rise up, anchor, and chase down artist. He's very solid all the way around, though. Has catch and shoot corner specialist and Claymore on gold. Good interior defensive badges like brick wall, movable enforcer, interceptor, post lockdown, rebound chaser, gold posterizer, post spin, precision dunker. Like, he's got pretty good speed, 85 3-ball, 85 standing and driving dunk, 90 interior, 94 block. That 7'10" wingspan is really, really nice, and his release is also good. This Bamba card is really, really solid, and it represents a significant step up in the level of these cards. At number 8, I go with Alonzo Mourning. Really solid card who has a bad release, but outside of the bad release and not having great shooting badges, he's really good. He's an awesome defender, awesome finisher. Playmaking wise, he's not amazing, but he does have a high enough ball handle to burst as a base card. Really, the main thing that takes away from this card is the fact that I just don't like the release very much. Shaq base, default big upper, I'm not a big fan. Not to mention the fact that his SIGs aren't very good, so even though he can technically burst, he's not going to be moving all that well. I just don't think he's amazing, but obviously really complete in a lot of statistical and badge-wise areas, and I do still think he's a pretty solid card. Now, Assar Thompson is who I'm going to have at number 7. Assar is definitely better with his duo, and it's a very usable duo that boosts up both twins. But I do believe, despite Assar being a 6'7", really versatile and quality defensive shooting guard, offensively, he's just not a great shooter. 78 3-ball, not very good shooting badges. Awesome athlete, puts the ball on the floor okay, but his SIGs are not elite, I wouldn't say, and his release is mediocre combined with a lower 3-ball. That's a pretty big flaw, especially for a shooting guard, and that is enough to keep him, I think, somewhat toward the lower end of this list at number 7. Still a very usable, very solid card, but I think number 7 is a very fair ranking for Assar. Now, number 6 is going to be Ja Morant. Ja is only 6'2". That's a big flaw. His other flaw is that his escape and his between the legs bursts are just not very good, and that does hurt the card as well, but he's got a very small solid release. He's a very good shooter. They souped the crap out of this card stat and badge wise. I mean, he is insane. 98 speed and excel, 95 3-ball, 99 driving dunk, great defense even, which doesn't make sense on a jaw card, but he's a really good defender outside of anchor, brick wall, and movable enforcer. I mean, super complete badge wise, has a fast release. This card did impress me when I did gameplay with him. I do have gameplay up on this card already, and I was impressed. I mean, he played better than I thought thought he was going to. I think he's pretty good, but I do think the lack of size as well as lack of elite half-court sigs takes away from the card for sure and leaves him around the halfway mark of these cards. Number 5, Chris Webber. Not a great release, I know, but everything else about him is awesome at the power forward position. He's really versatile, 6'10" power forward with good size, a good wingspan, dunks the ball at a very high level, but also shoots the ball well with half catch and shoot. I don't love the release, but it's smooth and it's not hard to green. Movement-wise, he's really good for a power forward, has very complete playmaking badges, not really missing much outside of Unpluckable and Bailout, which I would recommend adding. But defensively, he's also very good. Guards on the perimeter at a high level, guards at the interior at a very high level. Really, really nice all-around card. Can put the ball on the floor, dribble pretty well, and like I said, I don't hate the release either. I don't think it's awesome, but overall, I really do like Chris Webber as an overall card. I think he's a very, very solid option. I think number 5 is a very fair spot for him. Number 4 is actually going to be KD. I'm not that high on this KD card compared to the other pink diamonds, besides, I guess, Ja. I think KD is good, but his release is a little baited, and his dribble animations are just not that good, honestly. Doesn't have an elite release, nor does he have an elite SIGs. Now, when you look at all of this, stats, badges, all this, you're going to be very impressed. He's very complete. He can get every badge that he doesn't have, except for the ones that aren't addable, like a Movable Enforcer and Post Fade, which that you can't get, Hook Specialist, etc. Like the ones that you can't add, you can't add. But outside of that, all the gettable badges he can get, which is nice. And the only reason that is because his previous card could also get every badge, so I guess they carried that over to this card, which is nice. But again, his animations aren't that great. Releases on normal, I don't think it's that elite. Movement, I just don't think it's all that good either. KD's not a bad card, but I don't think he's elite in my team. I'm not the biggest fan of the Slim Reaper. I use a borderline top 5-ish shooting guard, but compared to the top 3 cards from today's drop, I don't think he's quite on their level. Number 3 is going to be Chris Bosh. Bosh, similarly to KD, can get every badge because of his previous card, the Diamond Gauntlet player, also being able to get every badge. So same thing, they carried that over, which is really nice. And that means Bosh can get really good because he's a great slasher and a great shooter already. Really good defender as well. But if you add things like handles for days, speed booster, maybe a couple other badges like a slippery off ball, glove, fast feet, whatever, a couple badges like that, you're going to have one of the most complete bigs in the entire game. Not to mention having very good speed, a high enough ball handle, even as a base card to burst. So again, if you add handles for days and stuff like that, speed booster, you're going to really be moving with him at the power forward position. Not to mention he's a really good defender besides the low steal and block, which is the same as the diamond, which makes me think it was a mistake that like they forgot to touch those 2 ratings. Outside of that, though, the card is awesome, and I really do believe he's a top 3 or so power forward in the game. I'm very high on Bosh, and I think he's a really good card. Number 2, Amen Thompson. I actually believe for my playstyle personally, Amen is my favorite point guard in my team. Is he without a doubt the best point guard in my team? I wouldn't totally say that, but for my playstyle, I think he's my favorite option right now, at least. He's incredibly fast, incredibly athletic for a big point guard who can slash through him at a super high level. Elite playmaker, although his SIGs are not insane, but not terrible SIGs. Defensively, he's very good for a PG as well, especially with his size, half clamps, gold anchor, chase down, glove, interceptor, 94 feet, pick dodger, etc., etc. Fast feet, right stick ripper. He's very complete, very good. The one thing he doesn't have is great shooting badges, and also his release is pretty hitchy, but luckily it is fast, which I would rather have a hitchy fast release than a slow release. So I'll live with it. I think Amen, for me personally, is my new favorite point guard in the game, and I think he's an absolutely amazing card. Number 1, best card from today. He might not be the best shooting guard in the game, but I think he's one of the best cards in the game, and it's this Dr. J. There are 3 truly incredible shooting guards, Kobe, Pippen, and Dr. J. And while Dr. J might only be the 3rd best shooting guard in the game, I think he's one of the 10 best cards in the game for sure. 6'7", 6'11" wingspan, hotspots from basically everywhere. Good bunch of Hall of Fame badges, including a ton of finishing badges, but shooting badge-wise, he has literally everything on at least gold with half catch and Deadeye except for Limitless. I really wish he had Limitless, but I can live with it. Playmaking badges are also really good and very complete, and then defensively, he's a beast. Does not have Anchor, Brick Wall, and Movable Enforcer. That hurts the card a little bit, but I can live with it. His release is awesome. He's an exceptional slasher. He actually moves quite well with MJ dribble style and pretty solid SIGs, and I love his release. I really think this Dr. J is an absolute beast. He is really, really good. There are several really good cards from today's drop, but my main opinion is target Dr. J, Chris Bosh, and Amen Thompson. If you're a budget player, a guy like Bamba can be really good. Chris Webber, Alonzo, Mourning, Ja, KD, Assar, all solid but not elite, and I'd probably stay away from the lower tier Amethyst besides Bamba. And that is going to do it for today's video. So I hope y'all did enjoy. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.